Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another session of Shade's Tale, an Ironclaw 2nd Edition role-playing game. We'll go through everybody's characters, and then we're going to do a recap of last session. I'm going to try to keep it brief. But yeah, it's been a long week for me, so it's mostly a recap for my own edification to remember where we're at. But yeah, as we start every game of Ironclaw, let's introduce our characters. Let's talk about their goals and their mottos. And we'll start with Theta. Tell us about your character, Harmon.
I am Harmon, the donkey soldier. My personality is relentless. My motto is I am stronger. I think my goals are, because I still have some that I don't know. I just tried to listen through last session to remember to see if I got them all right. Send a message to the syndicate. Investigate the burned signal towers. And advertise the witch wine. Look, I was out of it last session, so I don't know what the hell's going on.
That's okay. We're going to do a recap.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Cool. Okay, let's talk to Arkloyd, who is playing Sir Connor.
Yes, I'm Arkloyd. I play Sir Connor, the brazen raccoon knight errant. His motto is one hand washes the other, and he also has the goal of send a message to the syndicate, investigate the burning of the signal towers, and advertise the witch wine.
All right. And next we have the anonymous doctor played by Griffin.
Hey everybody, I'm just your local doctor. I'm an armadillo almoner with a phlegmatic personality. My motto is first do no harm and second get paid.
All right. And last but not least, we have Rafferty playing Anushka the messenger microbat.
Yes, I am Anushka the messenger microbat. My motto is know no fear and serve with joy. And I also have the same goals: syndicate, towers, advertise for the Vine Witch.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about these goals. First one up is the syndicate. That goal was offered to Harmon. This was in the city of Chalon-sur-Saulge. There was a give me the pronunciation one time there.
Soldre.
Chalon-sur-Saulge.
Take issue with us, but they're not here.
Thank God. I know I'm butchering every single name, proper noun in this game, so I apologize. Yes, but while there, Harmon came across an import trader who was selling a very rare and expensive item known as a volcano fan. Was that it?
Yep.
So he decided to set up a deal. This particular merchant said that they were being harassed by a crime syndicate, and if Harmon could find one along the way and offer them this writ of conscription that he was given, and could basically teach that syndicate a lesson. Basically, put the fear of God in them so they stop harassing the importers, then that would be fair trade for this item next time he found himself in the city. The second goal was to investigate the signal towers burning. We'll talk a little bit more about that during the recap. And the Wine Witch is a character that Anushka got into touch with last session, who is a Blessed One, or a follower of the Blessed Way. Essentially, she tends to a magical vineyard and makes her own wine using the Path of the Vine, Way of the Vine, blessed magic. But she could use to get the word out there. So Anushka agreed to help deliver some bills, advertisements, essentially, on her journeys. And if you can convince 3 other people to basically take orders from this particular wine-growing witch, then that's a gift in the bag for y'all. Okay. So I'm going to quickly go through a recap of last session so we all get back up to speed. First of all, the trial of Connor's family ended in their favor. The Enclume were accusing them of stealing secrets, but it turns out that this was baseless, at least in the eyes of the prince who was residing over the trial. Shortly after that, Connor received a letter from the Archduke of the Avoirdupois territory in regards to an impassioned speech he had given earlier to the royal court of the avoirdupois, asking them to investigate the unlawful burning, unrighteous burning of, or unjust burning, that sounds good, of the town of Mage Cross outside of Triskellion by the King Jakoba, which were the events that kind of started off this whole adventure. The Archduke was returning, or was sent a message to Connor and his family saying that they are still interested in investigating this, but unfortunately there are pressing matters that are distracting them from that course of action. Namely, it seems that the Delorio Boar have been waging a preemptive strike against the avoirdupois by sending bandits to destroy their signal towers, the towers that they keep along the border that will alert them if there's skirmish battles happening along the river Lior? Anyway, the river that divides the two lands of the avoirdupois and the Delorio. Yes. So they said that currently they're investigating this. If there is going to be a war between these two nations, it's going to take precedence over investigating what the king is or isn't doing. But he invites Connor to lend his aid in determining the root cause of this matter, and that is where the gift of investigating the signal tower burnings came from. You all decided to go and check it out. You went to the Abbey town city of Harmony, where you discovered where the last signal tower had been burned, and you found out that there were some supernatural. There was a supernatural element to the attack. The townsfolk began to riot, and then one of the signal guard was responsible for burning down that tower. When you interviewed everyone, you found out that the guard felt influenced, mind controlled, and that there were these creatures in purple robes who had come into the town and caused this. Before this happened, there was a burning of a nearby farming village, and you guys decided to go investigate that, while Anushka went north to investigate this rumors of a witch that the captain of the guard thinks is responsible for the burning of the tower, or for the mind control. Anushka goes and meets the aforementioned vineyard wine witch, essentially, and determines that she actually has nothing to do with this, and then meets up with the rest of the party. At the village, you guys find that there was a raid by these rat bandits that came from the southern woods, and they didn't steal anything from the farming village. They just set fires and basically drew the guard away from the town of Harmony. So you guys decide to go into the woods and track them, and you came across a hidden bandit campsite where you did battle with these rats, and there was one that was dying, but you guys saved him, restored him to life, and you made a deal with him, a pact. He gave up the location of his leader, basically the head of this, gang or organization of rat bandits. And in exchange, he promised to give up his life of crime, and you'd never see or hear from him again. And he wouldn't be punished for his previous crimes because he's turning over a new leaf. Anyway, that's where we're picking the story up. You guys have been given directions to this hideout, which is in the woods south along the Liore River, about a day's journey south from where you are now. There are a couple notable landmarks that you can use to get there, and he warns you that this bandit hideout is currently being, it's guarded night and day. The leader of these bandits considers himself sort of like a bandit king or a commander, and so he delegates from this area most of the time. So it will be guarded, but if you talk to him, you can find out more about these mind control mages that were in cahoots with them. And yeah, I think that's everything. Do we have any questions, or did I anything that needs clarification?
I think that covers it.
Sounds about right.
Okay.
Sorry, I was going to make a joke about, hey, can you say it all over again?
I know, right? Like, oh yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't
My
recording. Can
headphones
you
were-
do that
was
again?
recording. Tried to keep it concise, but yeah. All right, and I will also remind you that you guys are currently traveling with 2 NPCs. Connor has his squire, the porcupine potter, and also you guys freed the young signal guard recruit whose name is Norbert. I think I'm gonna double check that, but I'm pretty sure.
Do we also have a
Norbert,
captive?
huh?
Do we
Oh,
also
and you
have-
have your captive. Well, I guess you still have him. It's up to you whether you decide to actually release him, though that was part of the bargain.
Oh, was it?
Right.
I don't remember. Sorry, I'm just bringing it up because he's still on the map, too.
Oh yeah, yep. Did I? In fact, I think did. I change the background over.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm still on the... Hold on, let me rejoin as player. If you change
Gotcha.
maps and I'm
Right.
just on my default thing, yeah,
Right. That's
there
what's
we
up.
go.
Okay.
Fixed.
Cool. Yep. Just I need a better woods background, but for now this is what we got.
I think this is a marsh or a swamp.
Yeah, something definitely on the marsh swamp spectrum.
Yeah, I need that post that I put up. What the difference between all these is.
Okay. And yeah, so Norbert from the previous so Norbert, who you kind of liberated from the stocks, he I think the doctor lent him his electrum rod,
Yeah.
electrum rod. And during the battle, he did his best to stay in the fight and to give support. And right now, he's kind of shaking. The adrenaline's wearing off, and he's just like, everyone's okay, right? I'm just, I need a second to to catch my breath.
You did wonderfully. You really are a wonderful soldier. You know that?
Oh, well, all of the Vordapar Signal Guard, we are held to the highest standards, and we'd never abandon our brothers in arms in a fight. So I'm just, doing what comes naturally. Ha!
Exactly. You'd never abandon someone. I think when we go to this main camp, though, you should stay next to me.
Right. I still have much to atone for, but as long as I have breath left in me, I will I'll be by your side, good sirs.
All right. So, Sir Connor, what now?
Well, we do know where they are, right? From the one that we captured.
Based on the
Yes.
information he gave you, yep.
These were the guys setting the fires, right? So I'm clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there was no mystical element about it, or there was?
No mystical element about the fires set in the village. By all accounts, these were just a group of rats clad in green hoods, robes, that stormed in, set some fires, ran away. Very strange for banditry in this region. Generally, when they attack, they're either Dolaru boar skirmish attacks, or they are bandits who are trying to steal things.
And what accounted for the people who reported that they thought they had their minds messed with?
Right, so
The
that
other
was
town.
the other town, Harmony. And
Yeah, that was before people went berserk and started setting fire to their own town.
Oh, that's unrelated?
Well, we don't know. These guys.
We followed the distraction team.
Yeah, these guys were paid to burn stuff down, and there's another town where everybody went crazy and started burning stuff down. So
Okay, in my head, I thought it was all one thing. That's why I'm
Mhm.
trying to figure out why.
They are connected.
Right.
when you say are they related, the bandits have obviously been put up to burning the tower down because they're bandits. Like we just said, they're in it for the money.
Right, and they're also dressing like the school of magic that would do that.
No, they're dressing in green because the forest is green.
Oh, they're not dressing.
Yeah, I should clarify.
Well,
they're
you said
not.
green and purple, didn't you?
So the robes of the individuals that were cited at Harmony during the riots, they were wearing purple robes. These guys are wearing green, like felted cloaks. They're not magical garb.
Oh,
It's
no,
just
I'm not saying that they
camouflage.
are. I thought that maybe they were dressing up as if they were in those schools of magic to confuse.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's possible that the people in the purple robes were, but the rat bandits at the village, no one would mistake them for magic users.
Okay, that's my confusion. That's all.
And that's totally reasonable. Because yeah, there's a lot going on there.
But yeah,
Hey, though, felt cloaks though, those aren't cheap.
I'm not quite sure how to say put them in an ambush situation or surprise them in any way. I think that would have to come upon seeing the battlefield.
Well, I mean, if you find their base camp, you can ambush them any which way. They're all going to be in one spot.
Well, I know what you mean by base camp. There were like what, 5 guys here when we showed up?
The camp that you guys came across, I think there were 8 total, and then like 3 of them booked it.
Do we think the bandit gang is?
We can retcon it a little bit if you want to keep asking this guy that you had captive.
Well, do we have any intel on how big the gang is? Has anyone cited them? I mean, they had to be able to assault the town. See, this is where it gets tricky. They had to be able to assault the town and burn down the tower. But, you know, like Ironclaw is this thing where a fighting class is way more dangerous in fighting, surprise, than a non-combat class. So if a typical bandit goes up against a typical farmer, the typical farmer is going to run away because they're going to get their butt kicked. So you could have 8 people run into a small town, burn down the tower, and leave before any organized resistance could be organized, even if they outnumbered you like 2-1 or 3-1, because the first farmers you meet are going to go, oh, that's resolved and veteran. I'm not touching that. I'm getting out of there. And
right, yeah.
Actually, see, it's also tricky. They didn't actually come to steal. They came to burn down the tower. They just have to get to the tower, light it on fire, and get back out. So it wouldn't have to be a lot of people to do it. It doesn't have to be an army. So that's why I'm saying, you know, the gang could just be 8 to 12 people.
Sorry, I had it in my mind that they were talking about going somewhere and doing a thing, which made me think that this wasn't the base camp. Again, could just be me getting confused again.
Right. I mean, that's why I have questions. Like, if this guy can tell us how big the gang is, that's awesome. Because I have no idea. It could be dozens. It could just be like, you know.
Right. If this is the base camp and we've just dealt the blow to these guys, then.
Well, count the bedrolls.
Yeah. He says that this is not the base camp. This is not where their leader resides. This is just one of many smaller camps that they will use during raids.
I feel like we need that Inglourious Bastards moment where we get him to point at the map. Point out where all the German forces are in the area.
Yeah. Right, basically.
Comes and hits him in the head with his mate.
I start banging a bat against the cave walls, intimidatingly.
I'll do that. Making sparks, chipping concrete with stone, whatever.
No, it's more about the intimidation. Because you can't
Sir
see
Connor,
me
that's
coming.
not very good for your sword.
We don't get a lot of entertainment out here.
Well, yeah, we're not. I assume that you guys will release him when you think it's the right time to release him. I mean, so if you have more questions,
will he reveal where the base camp is?
He did. He did give you directions to get there.
Okay.
He gave you that much. This is all based on a roll that we did last week, so I don't actually remember how well you guys did, but you did well enough for him to, roll on his crew.
If I had to guess, it looks like Connor had 3 successes, so pretty intimidating. Or negotiating, I can't tell.
Guy.
If it was presence, I'd probably use Potter for an assist die.
Usually you put Potter's name before the things that you use Potter for. I've noticed that, and I don't see that on that roll.
Okay, then.
I just see a presence of 5 followed by double 6s, which I assume means people did assist you.
Yeah.
Which means
I do have a die in negotiation. It's a D6.
And you wrote Connor negotiation under it, which makes me believe that you were negotiating with this guy, since it was end of session and there's no rolls after. So you did.
I have a roll from the doctor here.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying that the bat was healing somebody.
Mm.
I thought. I guess guy's name is Rodolfo.
Rodolfo is actually the name of the mage that had hired the gang.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that was probably just Griff making a note then of the guy's name.
Yes.
I thought maybe that was a healing roll that you made on Rodolfo. Trying to parse these things after a week, especially when you weren't all there during the session.
I know, right?
It's all understandable. So, what is our plan of action then?
2 of you. Oh, sorry. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of somebody who's dead, who I never actually met in the first place. One of you can fly. It seems like that would be a good scouting ability to get both lay of the land in that direction, seeing as you have a better view across the horizon than those of us who are stuck to the ground. Like, you could see further.
I know it's there.
Well, yeah, but also you can see further horizon-wise than we can. A person standing on the ground wouldn't be able to see as far as you can. That's how height works.
That is how I've heard.
So if their camp is visible by the air, you would be able to see it far before they'd be able to see you.
Well, no, because this is a forest. They could be under the forest canopy.
Right, but I'm saying if they're not, and we wouldn't know if they weren't unless you got a view of it first. If they are, then you won't see anything in that direction.
Is it day or night?
At this point, it is night. I believe you guys spent all day searching for this camp, and it was like twilight when they found you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could, but I won't see anything. It's too dark.
I mean, you don't have to do it now. We're in the planning phase.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not the end-all, say-all. I'm speaking out loud. Connor can say shut up at any moment.
No, I value your input.
I'm just saying that you can get a lay of the land faster. You can say, hey, it's all forest in that direction. Or, hey, there's a river that cuts through here. Or, anything to give us a minor leg up that we don't have, being creatures of the ground.
Or you could say, this area to the southwest of the camp looks more sheltered than the rest. That is where you should approach from.
Or, even, hey, there's smoke rising from the woods over there. Someone's cooking. Someone's doing something.
Yeah.
They are next to the river, so they may be fetching water from there too and have other signs that they've been there.
Well, fresh water is important.
Exactly.
Right. Just all things that you have an eye for that we don't.
Well, I'm no scout, but I suppose I could be.
God, if only they had us some sort of saying about bats. Something about how well they could scout for things. I don't know.
Yeah, scouts. Actually, I do have some observation, so yeah, I probably could.
Yeah, you feeling lucky?
Well, it's twilight now. Odds are we should probably rest for the time being and pick this up back in the...
Yeah, is anybody hurt?
Well, you and me had a prayer session, didn't we? With that guy whose name I haven't learned yet.
A guy who doesn't have a name.
Well, he has a name. He just hasn't told anybody, and he's...
Let's get back here.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really... it's really important to him that he doesn't tell anybody. But he does have a name.
Based on the icons, the only one who was hurt at the end of the battle was Connor, but I feel like he probably got healed from that.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
we all took the time. I was hurt as well, and that's why we had the prayer.
Sorry, I should have said hurt is a game term. Hurt takes 5 minutes to fix. Nobody
Right.
needs a rest, have they?
We've had several minutes to rest here, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're
And
all
I can lead people in prayer or patch them up. I'm your local doctor. Hi, how's it going?
we're all physically fine. It's just the emphasis that it's turning twilight, and a bunch of us can't see in the dark, and there's no real reason to push ourselves, because we only have things we need to do during the daytime. I mean, that was your argument, Anushka. You said it's getting dark, and I don't want to do the scouting thing at night.
Yep.
Yeah, so we might as well just wait.
All right. We can rest here.
All right. Are you going to rest at the bandit campsite? I mean, you've already got bedrolls there and stuff.
Well, yeah, we can Trojan horse this. I mean, we can Trojan...
Yeah,
I don't know what you...
Although I won't be using my own bedroll and my own tent for this. They might have had fleas.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. All right.
Who's got a tent for water? Don't know about the rest of y'all.
Well, there's tents all over.
Yeah, you can use the tents that are there.
Stealing
There's-
your tents.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how hygienic or clean any of it is, but then also that's a relative term during this era.
Who cares?
Yeah, like it's not something you concern yourself with too overly much, I guess.
Sure, I just cover my body with wax. I only have to deal with it once a month.
Interesting. All right.
I keep my hair short cropped, cover my body with wax. I only take off the underwear once a month to wash it. Otherwise, I'm sewn in.
Ooh, interesting.
Real Middle Ages approach. That's what I'm taking here.
Fun.
I'm learning things about hygiene in the Middle Ages that I wish I didn't. Never wanted to know. Okay, cool. All right. Thank God for washing machines. Anyway, all right. So you guys set up camp, and are you posting guard? Are you taking shifts?
I mean, I'm probably not going to bed for a while because I'm probably like wiping down the armor and cleaning the sword and just doing the general practice of all the hygiene I just described not doing is what I'm actually doing. I gotta always look my best even though I have no presence or ability to look good. I always keep my armor well maintained and my weapons clean, so they don't rust up or become less effective.
Right. It's a pragmatic approach.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be awake for a while and I'll probably be like the last one to sleep who's not actually taking a guard duty or whatever.
Cool. There's another issue too. I forgot to ask. Did you guys release this unnamed rat guy? We'll call him Francis.
He's told us all he can. I don't see why not.
Might go warn his friends.
Well, several of them ran away anyway.
Well, I mean, to be fair, if he gets more of his friends, we can just slowly kill the bandits in a trickle.
Oh, just post ourselves up as continual easy targets and let them come one by one to fight us.
Well, yeah, he'll run off, and they'll send what they feel is an appropriate number of guys to come kill us, which will be way too little, by the way. And we kill those, and well, now the 50 bandits are down by 16 members because they keep coming at us in waves of 8.
Well, more pertinently, we already told him and gave our word, and we ought to do so.
Okay. Well, if you let him go, he's going to leave in the direction of the farm village, basically, which is an encouraging sign. I'm going to remove him from the map here. All right. So, Harmon, give me mind and observation. And I don't know. Donkey's natural habitat is the plains, I would guess.
Pretty sure. But what about danger sense?
Danger sense would work too.
Plains. Yep, I'm a plains creature.
Cool. So no species there, but you can use danger sense.
One success.
All right. It's getting late enough at night now that you're thinking of turning in. But you've kept your ears and eyes peeled, looking for signs of anyone who might return to the camp. And you think you hear a rustle from a creature that might be large enough to be, a person. Coming from the if this map is oriented correctly, then coming from the west, in the trees.
What I'll do is I'm probably like sitting on a stump or something with like a cheesecloth, polishing the edges of my sword. And I'll hear that noise, and I'll like grab a rock from the ground and throw it in that direction.
All right. The rock lands, and there's a loud rustle and commotion. And then whoever it was takes off in that direction into the night. Probably, let's say, like medium range at this point, 36 paces at least, and heading out into the darkness to the west.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, they had no interest in getting any closer. But other than that, the night passes uneventfully. Oh, and dawn breaks in the morning.
Boot that up.
I suppose today's the day. We do have a long walk ahead of ourselves, though.
All right. Are you going to send Anushka out as a scout?
Yes. To stab a
Okay.
bow shot.
So yeah, and with the rise of the dawn, I can go ahead and take to the sky.
After I've said it out loud, I have to wonder if cheesecloth would even exist in Ironclaw.
I think it does.
Back to the
It's not
cheese
what you guys think it
conversation.
is.
I mean, because
Yeah,
what
there
would it be
is
used?
milk.
What would it be used for? In Ironclaw, because it was initially it was invented for cheese making.
They just call it sword cloth.
I assume it'd be used for blood cheese.
Oh, okay, wow.
I don't know about that. What about the
What do you mean you don't know about
The
that? What
milk
else are you going to do with all this tripe and organs? Tripe has to be a huge market in
But wouldn't that be
Ironclaw.
used for sausage making, not cheese?
No. You know what head cheese is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, probably use it for
actually.
that.
I'm sorry, what's head cheese?
That's where you take the head of a dead animal and grind it up. So it's not you don't actually make a sausage out of it. I mean, because sausage making is difficult. Hence, they talk about it. And you just basically like congeal it into a big blob. I'm simplifying here, but yeah, go order some head cheese sometime.
I suppose cheesecloth is also used for print making, so if that's in
Right. I mean,
existence
they
now.
probably would call it. They probably just wouldn't call it cheesecloth.
Right.
Yeah, it's got uses.
You'd especially use it for rainwater, because what you might do is you might set up 5 or 6 of these sheets, so rain accumulates and drips down, and it filters out all the stuff until you actually get drinkable water.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It's just I had that thought
No,
all of
no,
a
no.
sudden that I would use cheesecloth to wipe down my sword, but at the same time, wait a sec, there's cheesecloth would be a thing. Also, when was cheesecloth invented?
No, you probably use vellum to wipe down your sword. Now ask me what vellum is.
Well, vellum is paper, isn't it?
Made from sheepskin.
Right.
Yeah.
So
That
there's
one
a-
I
It's
didn't
made
know.
out of.
What is what made out of?
What would vellum be made out of in a world where sheep are sentient?
Well, we'd probably have like
some
reptile
kind of
skin
type of
paper, I
wolf
guess.
skin?
Except that wouldn't be woolly, would it?
No. Ooh. I don't know. Like I said,
Well,
it
the
seems
wool
like
doesn't
we'd be
really matter
using
so much as
reptile
the
skin as paper, but it would have different consistency and everything.
It
Yeah,
seems
it
like
would-
there's a relevant intersection between wanting sheepskin and an holy order of flagellants.
Mhm.
There would be a huge market of animal byproducts, which no one ever asks us about. And I always want, because one thing I wanted to put in the original Ironclaw was skunk bombs. Because if you have skunks and other critters that spray like civet cats and that sort of thing, in theory, they could harvest, why couldn't they harvest their own juices to put into ceramic or scored glass balls so you could throw them at enemies?
I mean, that falls right under the apes throwing their own shit stuff, and that doesn't come up either.
Well, it's in Dark Souls.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm just throwing it out there though. I don't know. It seems like if we have a culture somewhere in Ironclaw based on like I don't know, the whole don't waste anything, like the American
mhm.
Indian stereotype of using all parts of the buffalo.
You can go the opposite tack and talk about like capitalism. Like, hey, if I'm generating poison constantly, like if I'm a snake and I'm generating poison, I might as well sell it.
Right.
Don't believe that there's probably anybody who hasn't done that in one of campaigns, because it seems like a thing that you would try to do. It's like, hey, I need money. I gotta do something.
On the list of things people ask us for, I mean, like I always sound cynical when I say this. On the list of things people ask us for, no one ever asks us for that. They ask us for cheese.
Well, probably because it
that
doesn't seem
one-
like something to ask the game designers for. It's something you ask your GM
Yeah.
for.
And with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
vellum, though, the quote unquote animals of this setting, the dinosaurs, many of them are feathered and they have different skin than the scaled kind of reptiles. So we might be able to use
Well,
that
even
for them.
the Gift of the Magi story is about a woman who sells her hair so she can buy a gift for her husband. So yeah, people, for hundreds of years were selling parts of their body, especially hair.
We'll just
Oh
make
yeah, you
paper
used to
out
be able
of
to sell your teeth.
paper out of goblin flesh.
Yeah, so I imagine that there would be a market for animal hair, and people shearing that sort of thing. But it's a question of what people want in their fantasy game, because we could go into great detail. I'm a big fan of you guys are all Dinotopia fans, right?
Oh yeah.
I've only
No,
seen the
I've seen
pictures from cover art.
Yeah. Because one of my favorite things is like the very first book, one of the first characters that show up are the Copra men, who are the guys who sweep up the dinosaur shit. And like this is involved of this is the entire, there's a huge part of the infrastructure of the city devoted to sweeping up dinosaur shit.
I mean,
Because if you had dinosaurs, you have dinosaur
that
shit.
was my first character in the Warhammer 2nd Edition campaign. I was a guy who cleaned up shit and sold it to people.
Right.
Mhm.
And that's something that no one ever wants to talk about, because the sanitary revolution doesn't happen until like the Victorian age. People are just literally just taking pots of shit and throwing them out the window into the freaking street. It is
The past is a
gross.
different, smelly country.
And
Yeah,
Raph, I'm surprised you don't remember the milk beans that you invented for the Book of Monsters. Make cheese out of that.
Yeah. Shut up about the damn cheese. There is cheese in Book of Monsters, by the way. There's specifically milk bean cheese. Thank you, Tempe, for putting that in. So I take to the air, and I have 2 successes on mind and observation. If we're still in the forest, I can roll an extra die.
Go for it. Roll that die.
All right. Let's see. Now, because we're looking for someone specific, I'm not including Dead Reckoning or Geography, because that would be to discover where I am and not troop movements.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
All
so
right. That's still 3 successes.
So if they're clever bandits, they haven't lit a fire during the day.
Yeah. See, and I'm wondering too, because part of this, you were given directions to find where this thing is, which makes me wonder if Dead Reckoning would apply or not.
Oh no! If I was given directions, I would roll an assist die. I think it's probably the most sensible thing. But
Gotcha.
I still have 3 successes anyway. So
Yeah, 3 successes is not bad.
3 successes, I can spot hidden things from the air that only a trained forest scout or messenger, as it were, would be able to spot.
Exactly. And as you're approaching the location that you were given, the general whereabouts, you start to see that there are, I would say from the air, you can see conspicuous gaps in the canopy that to your eye look like they've been cut down or farmed specifically, and you think you're getting closer, and you come across. So you kind of like you swoop in close, maybe under the canopy cover. You find the small stream that was mentioned in the
Oh yeah, no. What would make more sense
Mm.
would be that I would, not look around. I'm looking for places that are likely where they would be. Like, for
I
example, like
see.
you say, river, like because I mean we have the
Mhm.
big rivers on the map, but obviously the forest itself, we're near we're to the north of the mountains, and then we're in the
Mhm.
forest. So water flows through here. So
Yeah.
there were numerous little creeks and that kind of stuff. So first you start looking for those, then you start looking for places that are dry. If it's a forest with a 45-degree angle, that they're not going to build a camp on that because they'd fall off. But if it was going down and there was a plateau and then it went down, you start to rule these things out.
Right. Yeah. No, that's good. So you narrow it down. Um,
Yeah, and they
Let
might
us
be over
be
there,
able.
they might be over there. They're probably not over there.
You
With three
might want to.
successes, I don't know if I would see any tells or not.
Would
mhm.
tactics also apply to a role like that, where you're looking for a place that has the proper makings of a camp?
If it was I would say that if it was a military camp, yes, but this is irrelevant because I don't have tactics.
There's also the whole danger of, the more dice you roll, the more difficult the roll gets.
True.
Yeah, that's usually a good guideline. Is the more skills that the role requires, the more successes it needs.
And you're already sitting on 3 successes, so you're
Mm.
probably good for what you're doing.
Well, it's when the GM decides on the challenge. And no, I mean with 3 successes, I could say I've picked out some places that I think the bandits are. With 3, I'm this like also we get into the kind of the rote rules. The bandits are forest critters, which means they would have at least a mine die and a forest die to hide where the hell they are. And if this is their home turf, they would have local area knowledge of their home turf. As in, like, if they operate here long enough, they'll eventually get local. So they could hide themselves to the point where it would take at least 2 successes to spot their camp.
Right.
Because they could just rote and get 1 success. And if they had, and if they were really good, they could rote and get 2 successes.
And conversely, though,
Mhm.
you've rolled something that only somebody who is really good could find.
Right. I mean, that's the basic design theory of Ironclaw. Is very simulationist. It's like, people who are good at their jobs, you'll need to roll 2 or 3 successes to beat them. But you're a player character. You can get 2 or 3 successes, right? You're doing all the points.
1 success being something anybody can do, 2 successes being somebody who trained can do, 3 successes being...
Right. Plus, also, we have, like, the base. So, in other words, I think there might be more bandits than they might be in these places, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You find several locations that would be good candidates for bandit camps.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to land and say, guys, this is a bandit paradise.
Been spending all my life living in a bandit paradise.
Yeah.
So I
Cool.
suppose the plan would be to go to them one by one and see which ones actually have inhabitants then.
Well, here I can sketch you a map that with a stick here in the dirt that shows the easiest route to get there. In fact, if I were a bunch of bandits and I knew what I was doing, I would go this route here because this is a base. The rats describe this as a base camp. This is a camp, so then you can go to here, so you can go to here. That's, of course, if they're organized bandits, which they apparently, in fact, we keep calling them bandits, except I can't help but notice that they had clubs that were wrapped in leather. They had maces, and they were doing knockout blows, specifically to knock us unconscious, with the skilled knowledge of people who know to take other people alive. That's not bandit. That's slaver.
You might be very correct on that, but, there's nothing quite like a lateral career change.
Well, I mean, it
Well,
could just be an overlap of career.
It is true. Bandits often hang out with. If I was already willing to kill you and take all your stuff, I might as well be willing to take you too. I mean, yeah, it's a lateral move, but But slavery requires different infrastructure. Like, loot is easy to carry. It doesn't complain or need food or get disease. So,
Yeah,
but
because if you were a slaver,
operation,
you need contacts to be able to sell.
right? Slavery is a large operation. You need to have buyers to buy the people. Slavery, unfortunately, is rampant in Ironclaw because you have this war zone here, where if you show up at Phelan or Doloro or even Avernapod Bisclave domain with a bunch of strangers, someone might say, "Hey, I'll buy a bunch of strangers to work on my land." I mean, it's ugly, and it's a good thing that we are the free people of Triskellion, and thus look down on slavery, but have yet to abolish it because we're terrible people.
So then, I suppose we should get marching then.
Right. That's why I'm a little worried that slavery implies that they have backing. They have like a method set up to capture people. I mean, look, they even have cages here, and these cages are what, made out of iron?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any idea how expensive an iron cage is? This is an operation.
Incredibly.
This is an operation, which means I'm a little. Well, I'm not worried about Connor and Harmon. You are blooded warriors, and thus are no strangers to the Edge of Steel. I'm more worried about the Doctor and myself because, we might be liabilities to you as, we don't know enough.
If those are steel cages, one thing, wrestling joke somewhere. Two, that makes this a semi-permanent camp.
Well,
Because they don't have the carts to pull it out. They've got those like one little wagon down here, but it's not large enough to take the cages with them.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm sure the map guy who made this.
Well, I'm just saying that does make this a semi-permanent camp, which means if they have bunches of camps around here, that they have bunches of outposts to their main camp, where they're keeping people. Maybe they don't deal with the slaves in their main camp. Maybe they like, hey, if you want to buy it, come out here.
Well, the advantage of slavery is if you get enough slaves, you can clap them in irons and then make them carry the iron cages with them.
I guess.
But you have to kind of use iron because it's Ironclaw and people just gnaw their way out with boxes.
Is that canon? That iron is a metal that is really difficult to gnaw through? Well, I guess if you were using a non-metal, right, people would gnaw their way out.
It's a weird question to ask. Yes, it's canon in Ironclaw that iron is harder than wood.
But then again, you're also in a setting with elemental mages who can just, move the metal.
Of course, the ones who can gnaw their way out the best also have contortionists anyway, so they just squeeze out.
Right, but in other words, you have to go a little extra for that,
right.
Or you have to declaw and defang, which it was something we talked about in detail in Ironclaw First Edition and decided not to include in Ironclaw Second Edition.
It's pretty dark.
It's a dark world. So and that's a question of just how dark your slavers are. But slavers are bad guys in Ironclaw because they're terrible, terrible people. So yeah, no, iron cages, but you're right, the semi-permanent, either they would disassemble the cages and carry them with them, or they might not just care. I mean, this could just be a camp where, sunk costs. It's just we built the cages here, and then when we sell the people, who cares?
You probably don't want to bring everybody back to the main camp, so you have all these side camps, these semi-permanent side camps.
If you don't have iron cages to keep people in, they might get away because simple hemp rope isn't going to hold people for very long.
Right.
So not unless you do things. And oh man. Sorry, there's a picture in Ironclaw First Edition of Letro Raposa, who is a master slaver, and he has pictured with him all the tools that he uses for his job. So anyway, speaking of the commoner, who is not part of the fighting class, slavers scare the crap out of me, more so than bandits.
Well, you have your patented escape method, so I think you're fine.
I'll clutch Gaston's rapier and think about what you had to say. At least the monsters only wanted to kill us.
Oh, I mean, out of character. The monsters aren't the one that killed Gaston.
Oh, that's true.
A man
Yeah.
killed Gaston.
Well, I am still angry at De La Vega for what he has done. So, well, anyway.
Literally
so yeah,
arrived just in time to see the death of Gaston. That's all my character knows about that guy.
Yep.
So yeah. So I mean, basically the question I'm having is like we've got 2 fighting people and 2 commoners, and we might be going up against not just bandits, but basically organized, violent people. Like bandits aren't just like a gang of bandits would be scary, but a gang of slavers is even more scary. We're talking about like basically an army here.
Are we men or are we Wolverines?
Well, like
I'm
you said, though, this is probably a permanent camp, and they do fancy themselves some kind of king. If they are so numerous, maybe we ought to get more information, and then we could return and ask for reinforcements.
So we're gonna go scout. So in other words, we suspect there might be bandits here, so we're gonna look, but we're basically just gonna look and not engage. We're all in agreement that we're gonna bug out.
That would seem intelligent.
Okay. That was my recommendation. What say you, Sir Connor?
I agree. We should probably, if there is a substantial force here, we should meet it with equal force.
Oh, I forgot. What shape is Potter in? Did Potter take an injury in the last fight?
He stood off and focused the entire fight, remember?
Okay, good.
He stayed out.
Who's the rando who needed to prove themselves?
Norbert. Norbert didn't take. He got shook, but no, he didn't take any.
Norbert?
Is Norbert on the map?
Okay, yeah,
so.
I don't think he has a nameplate.
Let me give him a nameplate.
He stood about a meter away from Harmon, providing him with tactical reinforcement during the fight.
I forgot. We have 3 warriors and 3 commoners. So
yeah, I should say for the sake of that conversation that Norbert is not particularly well armed. In fact, he's using the doctor's staff rod, and he doesn't have the plate or the half plate or whatever the avoirdupois horse are using. He's been stripped of basically everything. So
yeah, but I wouldn't insult him in front of everybody by saying he wasn't a warrior. I mean, I would be polite. I'm a nice person.
Appreciate
well,
it.
We do have at least a couple of bits of armor and weapons now. So
congratulations, sir. But if you want to upgrade to leather and a mace, we've got you covered. But these guys leather or the gambeson?
These guys were leather. I actually don't know what gambeson is.
Gambeson's like a layer that you wear underneath plate.
Yeah, or instead of plate. It's basically a quilt.
Quilted.
Hello, I'm a commoner and I know how to sew. Well, okay, here, we'll sew a quilt and put that on you there. This might stop an arrow or 2.
Yeah, if you were wearing plate, it's like a cushion against the plate. But I guess
Gotcha.
it also, being a cushion, absorbs the blows of a...
In Ironclaw, you can layer any 2 armors. So you can layer cloth and leather. You won't be moving, but you might also not be dying.
Or, plate in a robe, or plate in an ambuscura, or whatever you like.
Right. So
double plate.
No.
So it would make...
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say it would probably make sense that he was wearing gambeson if that's what they were typically wearing underneath their armor, their metal armor. Then maybe that's what he was rocking. I don't know what the actual...
It depends on how, period accurate that goes. Leather is usually very popular because it has protective value when you can move in it. Am I the only one here who's been in the SCA?
I know people that are. I don't...
Yeah, same. I know people who are.
Yeah. Walk around in armor for a while. See how it feels.
Well, it's also gambeson out. What would be better out here in like a swampy woods?
Oh,
leather or gambeson?
Leather, because the problem is like there's no nylon or polyester. If it's made out of cotton or animal fibers or whatever, it just absorbs water.
Yeah, you don't want to be wearing wool in a very humid place.
Yeah, no. Especially like you fall in the water, you will just sink like a... That's why there's like a lot of medieval stories of, somebody fell in a pond and drowned. It's like, what do you mean? Well, it's the Middle Ages, so we're wearing like 8 layers of cotton and wool. And as soon as we hit the water, it just sucked it all up and we sank like a rock. Leather. Norbert's probably leather. And if he wants to upgrade to a mace, there's plenty of them here.
Yeah, and then at least the doctor.
Although
can get
actually, I
his
think the
rod
electric
back.
rod does actually more damage. Fancy.
It has the
Well-
parry bonus, which is the most important part.
Right, which is kind of what I was hoping he would use more.
Well, if Norbert doesn't, mind his dignity,
Well, if there's shields here, he can get a D8 cover bonus against also ranged
Yeah.
fire, which you can't parry ranged fire.
I don't think any of these guys were rocking shields, were they?
what's Norbert's class
Is
again?
not. I'm gonna say soldier.
Oh, he's a
I
soldier.
can double
yeah.
check that, but I
No,
think he's a
we're
soldier.
gonna need to get him sword and board as soon as possible. But
And like I said, I don't know. That rod has been serving him well. I believe he parried a couple of times.
right, I mean, no, the rods and staves are very good weapons in the game. It's a question. I thought Norbert though has like specific ideas of his dignity of his station.
Well, he was stripped of all that, so literally he just
Yeah,
has to earn it back.
currently he doesn't feel worthy of his station, so he might have some weird conflicting ideas where it's just like, I don't deserve a sword.
Okay, congratulations. You're fighting like a Dark Souls character, which is any random junk you picked up that boosts your stats. All right.
Basically, yeah. He's just grateful that you guys are taking him as along at all.
Well, I suppose we should go look into. I suppose if this is part of our investigation of the burning signal towers, once again, because of the lawlessness of these border buffer lands between the great nations, it's not that hard to hide an army here. So we may run into an army, and the Avertapla would probably want to know if there was a organization of slavers stealing the populace and preying upon the law, preying upon the innocent who need the protection. So
Yeah. So I'm formulating a party role for this because as I see it, you guys are going to be poking around in the woods, trying to find somebody before they find you, and also trying not to stumble into the middle of something, which is possible because, as you said, based on your recon, you determined that these woods could very potentially be crawling with slavers, bandits, and the like. So I'm thinking that stealth should be a part of it, and I think searching will definitely have to be a part of it.
Danger sense.
I would say danger sense does apply here, certainly.
and we're in the forest, so if you're a forest critter,
Yep. Roll your species, and as for traits, let's say mind.
Is this going to be a group role, or is like one person going to be in charge of this, or this is like everybody individually?
I was thinking a group role, but if you guys would rather do it as
what I
one
usually
person taking
recommend is
point,
I recommend that everybody roll, and then we do a rule where people can burn successes to help other people who are losers.
I like that.
Yeah, I like all
So-
people losers.
I mean, so yeah, in my mind, we're looking for a
I got one success.
target
one.
number total.
Yeah, I mean, if everybody has at least one success, then we should have four. Because I think this does need a lot. I've noticed a lot of people don't have the same ideas that we do. We're trying to be stealthy, so in theory, each one of us should be able to get one success in order to be stealthy. If none of us had, if none of us could pass this test, or if one of us doesn't pass this test, they're a vulnerability. That's where I'd be worried about Potter and Norbert. Porcupine's forest? I think porcupines are forest.
They are.
Sounds right.
Oh, was
what
Potter a
species?
porcupine?
Yeah.
And what species is Norbert?
Norbert is a horse.
Norbert would be the one I'd be worried about because the horses are plains, and I don't think they get either searching or stealth.
Right.
So we're in the back, Connor and Potter like having a loud conversation with one another.
I'm gonna have Connor roll his personality because we have had a respite.
Okay.
And what's your personality?
I mean,
Crazy.
before you take that step, do you not have a favorite use for stealth?
I
Never
don't
mind.
have a way to get a favorite use for stealth.
Oh, well, you rolled a stealth die. I assumed you had a.
No, that's my my species die. I didn't label it correctly.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to. I labeled it by the skill it was rather than by the source this time.
Got it.
Okay. So that means that Connor made it. Potter did not currently. And I will roll for Norbert. Oh, actually, let me double check. I don't think that he has anything that would help him here. Nope. So he's just going to be rolling his mind, which is a d6. So, yeah. And botching completely.
So Potter and Norbert won't shut up.
Oh,
Oh, gee
As you
willikers,
guys are-
I'm so excited to go on an adventure.